Okay, so tell me why I was thinking about this the other day. You know, when you finally go to that place you've always wanted to visit, like you've been seeing it for years on Instagram, in movies, all the influencers are hyping it up and you finally get there, right? And it's cute. Like it's actually cute. The streets look like the pictures, the cafes got that little cozy vibe. People are selling stuff on the corners, music is playing, it smells good, and all of it is exactly how you imagined. But then it low key feels weird. Like not in a bad way, just kind of off. And you're standing there and you're like, why does this feel like I've already been here before? It's like the trip is still fun, but something about it feels a little too scripted. Like you're just stepping into a version of a place that was made for people like us to quote unquote experience. Not the real thing, but the presented version. And I feel like the same thing happens in real life too, not just travel. We be thinking we're chasing real experiences, but a lot of the time we're just walking through stuff that's already been pre-decided, pre-dressed, pre-packaged for us. So today we're talking about how to know when what you're living is real and when you're just performing the idea of it. Let's get into it.
She's not just a podcast host. She's a movement.
Mandalay is teaching people how to break cycles and build real wealth, mentally, financially, and spiritually.
People all over the world are waking up to her message.
Wired to be Rich isn't just a podcast, it's a mindset shift.
She makes you believe again in yourself, in your power, and your ability to actually have the life you always known was meant for you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mandalay, entrepreneur, speaker, and founder of Balance and Destiny, and this is Wired to be Rich.
Okay, so here's what I mean. That off feeling that I'm talking about, it's quiet. It's not loud or obvious. You're not panicking or like upset or anything. You're just taking the photos, you're eating the food, and you're saying, this is so cute, but low key, something about it feels rehearsed. The timing is too perfect. The food looks exactly like the pictures. People are moving through the space like they already know their marks. The stores are all sell the same things, just slightly rebranded. And it's like the city is hosting you. Not like you're in it, but like it's performing for you. And it works. That's the wild part. It feels like a moment, but that moment was built. And once you notice that, you start noticing it everywhere. And listen, I'm not mad at it. I love the aesthetics. Anyone who knows me knows I love a cute, curated looks moment. I love a good vibe. I love when stuff looks like the dream too. This isn't about dragging it or calling it fake. It's just me noticing, thinking out loud, just talking. Because the same thing happens outside of travel too. In our jobs, in our routines, in the way we rest, the way that we grow. We think we're making all these personal choices, but sometimes we're just picking the most appealing option from a menu that was already written for us. Like, yeah, you got a new job, you moved cities, you updated your wardrobe, but if it's still coming from the same need to be seen a certain way, or to prove something, or to perform the right kind of life, then is it really a change, or is it just a remix of the same old pattern? I don't know. I'm not here to act like I figured it all out because I have not. I'm just asking myself questions that I wanted to get out of here and just talk about a little bit. Because the deeper I go, the more I realize some of what we call freedom might just be a more aesthetically pleasing version of the same loop. And that part, it kind of stops me in my tracks sometimes. So no, the point isn't to call it fake. The real question is, who built this version of life? Who benefits from me playing it safe inside it? And why does stepping outside of it feel harder than just following along? And I guess once you start asking that, that's when the script kind of starts to glitch. And honestly, that's when it gets interesting. Let me ask you something else. Have you ever walked into a place and the vibe is so good, it feels like it's setting you up for something? The lighting is soft, there's some jazzy remix of Rihanna's song playing, and the smell is immaculate. And you're like, wait, do I live here now? But then you realize, oh, wait, This whole vibe was on purpose. That candle, that table layout, that playlist, all of it is there to make you stay longer and spend more. And honestly, I respect it. It's smart. It's literally design. But let's stretch that out a little bit. Let's go to cities, retreats, Instagram pages, even the quote unquote authentic pop ups with the handmade soap and the $20 sea moss lemonade. It's all built to feel personal, but it's not just for you. And I'm not even mad at it. Like, I love an aesthetic moment just as much as the next person. Give me a marble countertop. Give me a eucalyptus bundle. I want the oat milk latte. Okay? I just think it's funny how much of what we do, love, and buy and post is already being nudged before we even realize it. We are not as spontaneous as we think. You ever scroll past a random product and 2 days later, it's in your cart like you made that decision on your own? Because you did not. That choice was planted. And it's fine. It's not a bad thing. It's just funny. Because damn, I really thought I was in my main character era. And it turns out I'm just in a really well-lit commercial. And once you notice that, you just start peeping game. That's it. You're not going to burn it all down. You're not going to throw your matcha across the cafe or log off Instagram forever. Some of you might, but whatever. Really, you're just like, okay, I see what y'all are doing. Cute, smart, okay, respect. But now I move through things a little differently. Still enjoying it, still living my best life, but I'm also clocking what's real versus what's curated to feel that way. And low key, that's awareness. And once you start clocking that, once you start clocking how much of what we experience is designed, it kind of makes you pause for a second. Because then it's like, okay, wait. If so much of this is curated, what's actually me? When I say I want freedom, am I chasing what I really want or just what looks like freedom right now? When I say something's aligned, is it aligned to me or just trending in the spaces I'm in? Because it's wild how easy it is to confuse choice with authenticity. Just because you picked it doesn't mean it's true to you. And again, I'm not saying this to ruin the vibe. I love pretty things. I love a good branding. I'm not going to act like I don't fall for good lighting and a solid font combo, because I do every single time. But I've also caught myself doing things, buying things, and believing things just because the energy around them felt familiar or safe, or aesthetic enough to make sense. And sometimes that's all it takes. You're not being manipulated. You're just being moved through something that's already been made easy for you to choose. It feels like you're in flow, but really, you're just moving through a structure that already expected your behavior. And that's where the simulation really lives, not in the big moments, not in the obvious stuff, but in the tiny everyday choices we make without even stopping to ask, wait, do I actually like this, or do I just like how it fits into the image of me I'm trying to keep up? Because I've bought the candles, the books, the skincare, the courses, the whole phases of my identity off of a vibe, off of mood, or what felt like growth. And sometimes it was growth. But other times, it was just well-marketed self-discovery. I fed into the plot, and it looked like alignment, but it wasn't rooted in anything real. It was just available and accessible to me. So now I'm just paying attention, not judging it or overthinking it, just noticing what's coming from me and what's coming from habit. Because honestly, the biggest shift is realizing sometimes you didn't choose the vibe. The vibe chose you. So picture this with me for a second. Have y'all ever seen one of those little ant farms? The clear ones where you can see all the tunnels and the ants doing their thing. They're moving around in that little tunnel or the little ant farm looking structure like they've got somewhere to be. Super focused. They're carrying stuff on their backs. Then they're resting and then they're back at it. But then when you're looking at it from the outside, you can see the entire setup. You know, they're technically free to move around, but only inside the structure that's already been built. I don't know. I was thinking, just thinking, that's kind of what life starts to feel like, especially when you're chasing success or growth or just trying to level up. You think you're doing it your way. You feel like you're making real progress, but when you zoom out, it's like, dang, am I just moving through a set of tunnels someone else built for me? You're rewarded for doing the right kind of self-work, for performing the version of yourself that looks elevated. You get the likes, the support, the brand collabs, the subtle praise for being quote unquote aligned. But are you actually growing? Or are you just cycling through new versions of the same exact loop? So okay, now your goals are more aesthetic. Your feed looks more calm. You meditate, you journal, you move to a city with better coffee. But the pressure to become something is still loud. You end up still chasing, still proving, and still low-key performing. And because it all looks different on the surface, you don't even realize you haven't stepped outside the system. And the craziest part is you're paying for it. Every new phase of life comes with a price tag. Nothing is free. You're not just looping emotionally, you're funding it, buying the same next level feeling over and over in different packaging. And I'm saying that from experience because I've done it and I still do sometimes. It's like I'm spending money to keep myself in orbit and then wondering why I still feel stuck. And again, it's not that the growth is fake, you guys. It's just not always yours. And this is where it gets personal, like real personal. Because once you see how much of your environment is designed, you start realizing, damn, if I don't get the design, I'm just better at playing inside of it. Not breaking it, not owning it, just performing it really, really well. And people will praise you for that, for being on brand, for knowing the lingo, for looking the part. You'll get claps for being a great version of something that was already scripted. But let's be honest, that's not ownership, that's authorship. And authorship, that's where real wealth lives. The people who are really making money, they're not the ones going viral for having the best morning routine or the most aesthetically pleasing lifestyle. They're the ones who built the blueprint you're trying to master. They designed the loop. They figured out the psychology. They made the vibe, sold it as authenticity, and now they're monetizing everybody who thinks they quote unquote found themselves. I've been on both sides. I've been the one chasing the vibe and I've been the one smart enough to brand it. But what I'm realizing is you can't call yourself free just because your version of the funnel is prettier now. If your life is just a cuter, glossier version of the same structure, the same soul, the same blueprint, you're still in it. And if you don't realize your identity is being sold back to you piece by piece at full price, you're never going to build real wealth. Not the kind that lasts and not the kind that's yours. So here's the real play. You don't break out by doing more. You break out by noticing what you've been handed and deciding you're done rehearsing it. And at some point, you have to stop trying to do it right inside systems that were never built for you to own anything. Not your time, not your image, not your thoughts. Because mastery inside a loop is still a loop. You just look better doing it. Authorship isn't about aesthetics. It's about agency, about stepping back and realizing none of this is real until I say it is. And when you get that, you stop trying to win the game and you start building the board. That's the difference between performing wealth and wiring yourself to be rich. If this episode had you thinking different, do not keep it to yourself, y'all. Please send it to the friend who gets it. Post your favorite line. Tag me. Start the conversation. And if you're really riding with Wired to be Rich, make sure you're following the show. Drop a rating. Leave a quick review. It takes 30 seconds, but it tells the algorithm this podcast is worth hearing and helps more people unplug. I appreciate you all for being here for real. I will catch y'all in the next one next week, same time, same place. Remember, you are wired to be rich in every way. Bye.